I haven't slept in 3 days. Not because I can't, but because I'm afraid of what happens when I do. At first, it was subtle. I'd wake up and something felt off. Messages on my phone I didn't remember sending. An empty pizza box I never ordered. I ignored it. Maybe I was sleepwalking. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe I was just going insane. But on the 4th night, everything changed. I fell asleep, a deep, heavy, and woke up in my bed, or so I thought. Everything was the same, but different. The air was heavier. My room was colder. The mirror had a small crack in the corner that wasn't there before. And when I checked my phone, I saw a message that made my blood run cold. We need to talk about what you did to James. James is my best friend. Or was. I hadn't seen him in weeks. We'd had a fight and stopped talking. I didn't hurt him. I hadn't even seen him. But in this version of my life, I had. My hands were shaking as I unlocked the phone. Dozens of texts. Missed calls. People calling me things I couldn't believe. You're a monster. How could you? The police are looking for you. I ran to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face. I looked in the mirror, and I felt like I was staring at a stranger. Same face. Same scars. But something in the eyes was darker. That night, I woke up again, this time, back in my reality. The messages were gone. The mirror wasn't cracked. Everything was back to normal. Except one thing. There was a voicemail from James. Hey. I don't know what's going on with you lately, but I think we should talk. You scared me last night, man. That wasn't you, or was it? But I hadn't seen him. Not here. Not in this world. That's when I realized, when I sleep, I go somewhere else. Or worse, someone else comes here. I started researching. Sleep disorders, alternate dimensions, schizophrenia. Nothing made sense. Until I found a forum, old, buried deep in the internet, called I Am Not the Only Me. Hundreds of anonymous users said the same thing, alternate lives, fractured realities, timelines where they'd done unspeakable things, and then woke up in their own world with blood on their hands they couldn't explain. One comment stuck with me. The other you, he doesn't follow your world's rules. He's not dreaming. He's invading. And every time you sleep, you give him the key. That's when I made the decision I wouldn't sleep again. I stocked up on coffee, energy drinks, pills to stay awake. I set alarms every 10 minutes to keep myself from slipping. I even taped razors to my arms to feel pain if I nodded off. But the body has limits. By day 5, I was hallucinating. Shadows moved on their own. I heard voices behind closed doors. I saw my reflection, the smiling when I wasn't. And then it happened. I blinked, just blinked, and when I opened my eyes, I was back in the other world. And this time, there was blood on my hands. I didn't know whose blood it was. It wasn't mine. At least, I don't think it was. It was fresh. Wet. Still warm. I stood in the middle of a kitchen I didn't recognize. The lights were flickering. The refrigerator was humming too loud. And something was dripping from the counter to the floor. Step by step, I moved toward it. A hand. Just a hand. No body. No face. Just that, fingers curled, palm up, like it had been reaching for something. I staggered back. I wanted to scream, but my throat locked up. That's when I noticed the knife on the table. My fingerprints were on the handle. My reflection was in the blade. But I wasn't holding it. He was. The other me. Standing on the other side of the room, watching. Same face. Same eyes. But smiling. Calm. Like he'd done this 100 times before. I didn't move. Neither did he. But I could feel it, that he wasn't just a version of me. He was what I would become if I gave up. If I let him take over completely. He tilted his head and mouthed a single word. Sleep. Then I blinked. And I was back. My bed. My room. The mirror uncracked. The blood was gone. The knife was gone. But not the feeling. Something had changed. I wasn't alone anymore. At first, it was small. I'd lose track of time. Find things out of place. Voices would whisper my name when I was alone. I'd fall asleep for 5 seconds and wake up 10 miles away. With no idea how I got there. And then James went missing. In this world. Now the police are calling me. They say I was the last person he texted. They say my GPS puts me outside his apartment the night he vanished. But I didn't go there. He did. The other me. And now, everyone thinks I'm guilty. And maybe I am. Because every time I fall asleep, I'm giving him a little more control. I started recording myself while I slept. Cameras in every corner of my room. Motion sensors. Even a baby monitor near the bed. The first night, nothing happened. I just tossed and turned. The second night, I stopped breathing for a few seconds. My eyes opened, wide, unblinking, staring directly at the ceiling for almost 10 minutes. By the third night, I was no longer alone in the frame. At exactly 3:14 a.m., the me in bed sat up straight. Then, another me walked in through the door. Same clothes. Same face. But he moved differently. Like he wasn't used to having a body. He stood over the sleeping version of me for several minutes, then whispered something into my ear. There's no audio. But I swear, even through the silence. I felt it in my bones. Whatever he said, it stayed with me. When I woke up that morning, I couldn't remember anything after 10 p.m. But the cameras did. I tried showing the footage to a friend, but the file was corrupted. Black screen. White noise. All of it, gone. And that night, I found a new message written on my bathroom mirror. I'm almost home. I didn't write it. And I live alone. From that point on, every time I blinked too long, every time I felt my consciousness slip for even a second, I'd see glimpses. A version of my room, but reversed. My belongings twisted, wrong. Like someone tried to copy my life and got the details slightly off. And always, always, he was there. Watching. Waiting. He never rushed. Because he knew. I was running out of time. Last night, I fell asleep. I didn't mean to. I was in the shower, sitting on the floor. Exhausted. My eyes shut for just a second. And that was all he needed. When I woke up, I was standing in the middle of a highway. At night. In the rain. No cars. No sound. Just silence. And far in the distance, on the edge of the road, was a figure. He didn't move. He didn't need to. I already knew who it was. I ran. I didn't know where I was going, I just ran. Through the trees. Over fences. Through backyards that weren't mine. Dogs barking. Lights flicking on. And finally, I found a house that looked familiar. My house. But when I opened the door, I was already inside. Sitting on the couch. Calm. Smiling. He turned to me, this other me, and said, "You're late." I charged at him. Screaming. Ready to tear him apart. But the moment I touched him, everything shattered. I wasn't in the house anymore. I was in a hospital room. Strapped to a bed. Doctors and nurses holding me down. My mother crying in the corner. They said I'd been missing for 3 weeks. They said I attacked a man in the street. They said I kept screaming about another version of myself trying to replace me. They say I'm sick. But I'm not. I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. And I know he's still out there. Wearing my face. Living my life. And the worst part? Every time I blink, I feel myself slipping. He's winning. So if you're listening to this, if you found this recording, do me one favor. Please. Don't close your eyes.